Okay, so today we are making some hot apple cinnamon jelly. Now, that recipe is in my book, The Ultimate Preserving Guide to Fill Your Pantry. And it is... Find it here. It's a water bath cannon recipe, so it's on page 29. Can't see that there. It explains everything, how to do it. Now, this is my daddy's favorite jelly. He's the reason I actually make it. And then everybody decided they liked it. But, anyhow, it calls for apple juice, red hot cinnamon candies, and sugar, and then a package of fruit pectin, and that's it. It's very easy to do. We'll water bath it. But before we get started with all that, let's go over a few things with making this here jelly. Okay, first thing is water bath. This here is a water bath pan, water bath canner. It is, any pan will work so long as you've got something in the bottom for them to stand on, the jars to stand on. So whether it be a rack, rags, rings from jars, whatever it is, the jars just can't sit directly on the bottom. And to do this, you need to take and fill it with the water where it will be over the lids of the tallest jars. I'm doing pints and half pints for the jelly. Anyhow, so do that. It's a hot pack, which means I will take a hot jelly and put into hot jars and then put into a hot canner. So with that, let's discuss jars. Moving over here. You've got, hold on, make it as easy a way as possible. Okay, so you got your jar here. And it's a 1/4 inch headspace. That means that's how much space you leave at the top of the jar with air. That helps allow it to seal and stuff. But with this jar, any of the jars actually, you'll see this little twirly doohickey that goes around it here. I can't think of what it's called. Anyhow, you know what I'm saying. Anyhow, you follow it around. So once you get down to about here, this is about your 1/4 inch space. And then you keep going, and once you get halfway through, you're at your 1 inch or half inch headspace. And you get down here to the bottom, that's going to be your 1 inch headspace. That's just a cheater rule of thumb that will help you and not have to use as much equipment as you normally would. So that's where we're going to do. We're just going to fill it up to about here on the 1/4 inch headspace line. That's how much room has to be at the top of the jar. If it's a little bit more, it's fine, but don't make it no less. And then jar lifter. This here is your jar lifter. These are your handles here. They are plastic. They are kind of spinny. They are not grippy. Down here, as you can see, is rubber gripped, but it's also domed like a jar. So you'll hold onto the handle, and you'll just reach down and pick this up like this. I've seen people think that you do it this way. I mean, it'll do it, but it'll also, shove it right off there. It's not proper. I mean, do what you want, but this is how you use the jar lifter. So with that, let's get started on making this here jelly. Okay, as I was saying earlier, hot pack. So this water is gotta be hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, get the water hot. The jars need to be hot. So literally, I just put them on these here racks, and I'll just drop them down into the pan of water. As they're boiling while I'm preparing, the jars will be hot for me. This is just in case I have any extra. So they won't stay because they're empty. They'll float. But there you have it. Now, they'll all be hot when I go to doing this. So, hot pack is being covered here. I'll get those out and fill them as I need them. But then you come back over here to the jelly. Okay, so with this, when I say hot apple cinnamon, it's not hot. It's just cinnamony. So anybody who's had any kind of cinnamony stuff, you know. So fill your pot with water, enough to cover the jars by 4 inches. Place the jars that I'm going to use in the pot of water. Bring them to a simmer. Heat while the jars, so that it can be hot packed. Done, covered that. And then in a large pan, combine the apple juice, which is 4 cups of apple juice. The candies, that's only half a cup of red hot candies. These, because they melt good and they're not all goopy, like your hot tamales or whatever. And then So half cup of these, and then your pectin. That is this here Sure-Jell. So see, one package of pectin will do a batch of jelly. So, and then a pack of this here pectin. They got sugar-free pectin and all that there. So, you know, you can buy it in bulk, whatever. This is how I generally buy it because it's how I generally find it. But, and then after I bring that all to a boil, I gotta let it thicken and I gotta be there with it the whole time. Watch it constant, stir it constant. And it'll be about 5 minutes till it's all boiled together, thicken, and everything's all dissolved up. And then I add in my sugar. And then that will have to dissolve the sugar, and then that will bring it to a boil for 2 minutes, and then it's done. Then I just got to take it out, ladle them into my jars, and then put them into the canner. 15 minutes. So let's get started. Okay, I just use store brand apple juice here. 4 cups of it. I mean, if you make your own apple juice, that's awesome. But I have not ventured that way yet. So 4 cups of this. Usually get a couple batches out of this one bottle. So 4 cups of apple juice, half a cup Red Hots, and a package of pectin. Now I do keep my Red Hots stored in this here fancy jar. It's a pickle jar, you know, whatever. Half a cup of that. Red Hots, and then my box of pectin here. This is just like a white powdery, and inside the box it will show you different things for jellies and stuff. Well, usually ain't in this one. Like everything else, they're skipping steps because they're getting cheap. Anyhow, pectin. See it there? Just white powdery. Dump it in there. And now you gotta turn it on. Stir it constantly. Before I turn it on, I am gonna have my sugar ready because it is, you know, a dump in once it hits the thing, so you can't be sitting there taking the time to measure it out. You need to have it ready. So just in a separate bowl, have your sugar measured out, 4.5 cups. So anyhow, I'm going to get this here done. It's going to take me a minute with my system. So, get this here going. Okay, I've got my sugar measured out at 4.5 cups, set off to the side here. Got my pan on, and then you're just going to stir it so everything's dissolved and starts to thicken up real good, which is what the pectin does for it. So, you can see the red's already kind of turning it red. The Red Hots. And over here looking, the water's steaming. We're getting hot jars going. So now I'm just in a hurry up and wait kind of moment. So with that, we're just going to stir this here up. So it's a long time to watch, so be back. Okay, if you can see through there, you can see where the Red Hots is getting smaller, and if you can tell of any kind of consistency in the camera here, this is thickening up. So just a few more minutes on this and we'll be adding sugar. Okay, so you can see it's boiling. So time to add in the sugar here. And then you start stirring it again. This is a constant stir. Take about 2 minutes, bring it back to a boil, then 2 more minutes to cook it. So pay attention to your time, set a timer, whatever it is. Anyhow, this will dissolve fast because it is very hot. It's a nice pretty red color, which you can't really see in the camera. And man, does this smell good. Which you also cannot do. But you could, because it is good. Okay, you can see into the bottom of the pan, the sugar's fully dissolved. It's got the jelly consistency coming up on it. So now we just got to wait for a boil. So, which won't be long now. But anyhow, fully dissolved because you can see plumb through it here. Okay, we're starting to boil here, so I'll set my timer for 2 minutes just because I have ADHD and I forget to pay attention to things. So this will boil 2 minutes and I'll just stir it until my time is up, and then I'll remove it from the heat. Okay, time is up. Remove it from heat. With the setup I have here, I have no room, so I'm literally just going to shove it to the back of the stove. Get it off the heat that way. And then, with that, I'm going to get jars out. It's got some foam in the back of it, maybe. They said skim that off. Honestly, it'll just disappear in a second. It's just where it's been boiling. So next, remove jars. Now this is kind of tricky if you have to do it in the water, because you do get water in your jars, and you gotta be careful how you dump it out so you don't pour it down your arm, because that is a really bad burn. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and get them all out. That way, with them being hot like they are, they'll dry, because I don't want to put jelly in a jar full of water. So get them all out here. No crud. Okay. Okay, last jar. Get it out. Bring them over here. Sit them on my towel, which will be where I also store to cool. So with that, I have a funnel. And you literally just put it there. It helps with the mess and helps me get everything into the jar. So, and I'm just going to ladle jelly into the jar up to the 1/4 inch headspace like we had talked about. And then pop the jar off, or the funnel off, move it to the next jar. And as you can see what I'm doing here, that's it. I'm going to fill all these jars up and then we'll do the next. So, okay, next step is to take your jar, which by the way is very, very hot, and you have to wipe your rim. I dampened this here paper towel. Use a cloth towel, it don't matter. Just you have to wipe your rim clean. No sticky, no nothing. You know, it has to be a clean rim. No cracks, no breaks, because it won't seal. But if it's a dirty rim, it could get in the way of sealing also. So wipe all of your lids, all of your rims there with a towel, wet towel, if it's sticky especially. And then here I have regular mouth jars here, so I have regular mouth lids to fit on them. So you take your jar, you take your lid, or your flat, whatever people call them, place it on there, just sit it on there, and then take your ring and put it on, and then just twist it on. Finger tight is just right, is what they always say. I'm a tad bit overkill on that, just because I worry, so I really hand tighten it in there. But that's it. And then take your jar, drop it down in your canner, over here like so, because it's hot jelly, hot jars. Once I get all my jars in there, it will be higher. And then that's it until it starts to boil, and then I set the timer for 15 minutes. So I'm going to get these other jars closed up and put in the canner here. Jars are all in there. They're underwater. You can see it kind of reflecting over the lids. So now I'll put the lid on the pan, and that'll help it to boil faster. So with that, lid on pan, and then in 15 minutes, after it starts boiling, you set the timer for 15 minutes. So I'll just check in on it, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, as you can see, we're at a good rolling boil. Start the timer 15 minutes. And then, like everything else, hurry up and wait. So 15 minutes, we'll take them out. Okay, timer went off, so it's time to get the jars out. Use your jar lifter, like I showed you here, and just pick the jars right up out of the water. There will be a little bit of water on top. Just bend it over, shake it off, whatever, and then take it and set it on your counter. The towel that I have down, it just kind of helps to absorb the shock from where it's hot. So, now take those all out. Okay, now the jars are set in here, and they have space in between them. They're just sitting on the towel here, space in between them all so that they have adequate room to air out between them. A few of them have already popped because the temperature, and it's already sealed them. So easy peasy. You're not supposed to touch them for 24 hours. Good luck with your patience on that, because I lack in that field. So anyhow, beautiful and done. That is red hot apple cinnamon jelly.